Sporting touch of hands. Round number one. There's that fast start. And that is the fastest knockout in bare knuckle fighting championship.
K-Mama, no born in the Bronx, raised in Dade. Been in the city since Pit had braids. Bahapanti parties, plata know how to sneak me out. Now it's 7-figure meetings, every day we lead a house. It's game time, the game's mine, you know the vibe. Yo viajado el mundo entero, rapping 305.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Don't Blink Podcast.
Yes.
Me, the kid, and today we got, I was gonna call him Coach Phil Daru, but he's really more like Professor Phil Daru.
Yeah, don't do me like that.
My brother, Coach Phil Daru, man. Thank you so much for being on.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And you know, we know each other for a while now, but this is the first time I knew that they call you Bam Bam, dog.
Wow.
And I can see it. Somebody, my homegirl there research, bro.
That's our executive producer right there. Shout out to Jen.
No bullshit. When I read it, I go, man, I can see him as Bam Bam from the Flintstones and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was hitting a lot of things as a young kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm known for patching up walls in my mom's house back in the day.
Exactly.
My brother, thank you so much for being on here, man.
Thank you, bro. This is awesome. I love this spot. You guys,
thank you.
Really Miami in here.
Yeah, for sure,
Nice.
for sure. Yeah, you know, a little flavor.
Hell yeah.
Man, it's awesome to have you on. You know, I did your show not too long ago. It's, you know, amazing to have you on because even before I met you in person, you know, it's funny how you follow people on Instagram. You feel like you know them and shit, you know, because you see these people. But I followed everything you do on Instagram. You know, did some of your training that you put on, you know, which I'm sure a lot of people do. And it's awesome what you're doing in your career, man, and at a young age, man. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
And you're doing a great job too, by the way.
Thank you.
Right? We had you on the podcast. I think it was one of the most viewed podcasts.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
man.
Here we go.
Nice.
Come on, yeah.
That's a great story. Everything was on point.
Thank you.
And I expected nothing less.
Thank you very much. Brother.
I do want to. I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Absolutely.
One, I will say this, man. It's been a long road. I mean, a lot of people, you know, see me now as like, you know, doing the YouTube thing and everything else. But I've been at this since I was 20 years old. You know, I was a professional fighter myself for 8 years. Was a part of the American Top Team, Dean Thomas. Then after that, I was like, you know what, man, I need to figure out a way that I can help other individuals. And usually,
and make money. That fighting.
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny because somebody did ask me, you ever get the itch to fight again? And I'm like, absolutely. But at the same time,
Right.
like, you gotta pay me a little bit.
Right.
So yeah, but you know, never out of the question.
Right.
Believe it or not, but you know, I stopped fighting primarily because of concussions. Man, I had 8 or 9 concussions that I should count really because I played college football. I played football all my life since I was like 7, 8 years old. You know, growing up in South Florida, this is what we do.
Absolutely.
You know, either fight or play football. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so I think for me it was more so just like I needed to find a way that I was able to stay inside the sport and stay inside the world of combat sports and give what my talents have actually been given to me. So being able to do that as a coach and teach other individuals how to do it the right way is important. And now I'm able to coach other coaches, which is absolutely phenomenal.
No, it's awesome. You know, actually, you know, shout out to Mac, my coach, man. Get some tips from you too, and and it's awesome to see that, man. You know, you've congratulations on your accomplishments. I saw the other day you won the Trainer of the Year again. So yeah, man, congratulations on that.
Man, I'm blessed for that, man. I think that for me it was more of like I've always stated that I wanted to be known as the best at what I do, right? So wanted people to know who I was and knew what I stood for. And so getting these awards and everything is great, but I'm honored and blessed for the fact that, first of all, I had this set in my mind that I was actually going to win this about 5 years ago. And I was nominated 2 other times. I feel like they got it from me. So I was supposed to win it. But no, I'm just kidding. But at the end of the day, man, it was great to win it twice. And I actually won 5 awards. I won the Florida MMA awards back in the day.
That's awesome.
I won that at 22 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like my second or third year actually coaching.
That's awesome.
And I was like, damn, okay, let's run it.
Yeah.
So,
It can only go. You know, it can only get better.
Yeah, I was actually still fighting like competitively. I was a pro fighter at that time too as well. But I just started getting into coaching, and then from there, figuring out ways to really coach the guys the right way. You know, the sport of MMA is super young. You know, and a lot of people don't know how to train these individuals and know. I mean, from a standpoint of getting them in the proper positions, getting them the proper training, and then also scheduling out an appropriate response and stimulating in the right position so that when they go inside the cage or the ring, they're ready to go.
Right. And how'd you fall upon all that, man? Did you study that in college?
Yeah, I have an exercise science degree, but I'm gonna be honest, man. A lot of my stuff that I've learned over the years is self-taught.
Okay.
Experience too as well. And the great thing is that I put myself in the position, right? I was there fighting, so I understand the movements. I understand the whole thing when it comes down to camp and everything else, weight cut, everything else. So that's where I really started to develop the programs and the systems that I utilize today.
That's awesome, man. Hey, that's fucking. You know, you're well-rounded and everything, then, because it's all important in fighting. Because if I do good with my strength and conditioning, I do shitty with my diet. I'm trying to find that balance as we speak in my career. You know,
For sure. Yeah. I always say, like, you know, if you're going to do something, you better do it right.
Yeah.
You know? So for me, it was always finding the best possible route for those guys to be in the best position possible to win a fight. You know? So.
Hey, and so you said you've been playing. Where'd you grow up? Down here in South Florida?
I was about to ask you.
I actually was born in Hawaii.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
My father was in the Navy and all
Okay.
that. I really don't remember any of it,
Right.
unfortunately. You know, and then we moved to Hollywood Beach. I remember as a young kid, like really getting into martial arts. I was doing Kempo karate at the time.
I did Kempo.
That's when you was Bam Bam? That's when you was Bam Bam?
Yeah, that's when they started calling me that. Yeah, and you know, blonde hair, blue eyes, just punching people for no reason, you know. But yeah, and then I started playing football, and I was like catching routes on Hollywood Beach at the time. And,
Nice.
you know, I had a you know, a tough upbringing, obviously, you know, but at the end of the day, what made me who I am today.
That's awesome.
So
Absolutely.
moved around a lot in Broward, up and down, you know, from Hollywood Beach all the way up to Deerfield Beach at the end of it all. And then I actually got a scholarship, or a partial scholarship, to play for Alabama State University, where I played football there.
That's
too, as
awesome.
well.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, and you know, I had a couple of speed bumps.
Yeah.
You know, at 16 years old, I was actually in trouble. Got in trouble. Right, got locked up. Was in jail, and a lot of my scholarships went out the table. So I was like, damn, all right, what am I gonna do? Got out, changed schools, balled out my senior year, and ended up getting that scholarship to go and actually try to change my life around, and ended up doing that. So I'm happy.
And what brought you around to start fighting after the football?
Well, I was boxing. On the off season.
I'm sorry, I meant to ask you too. Were the concussions from football also?
Most of them were.
Yeah,
Honestly,
sure.
there was times where I was on the sidelines. I'm like, am I on the field or I don't know what I'm at. You know, so yeah, it was tough for me to kind of let go of all that. You know what I mean? When I was fighting, it's like, okay, your goals are make it to the UFC, you know, or make it to one of the big promotions, make money doing this.
Right.
And same thing with football. I had to leave football early because of family situations, right? So I left Alabama State, canceled a scholarship, went back home, and then my family actually moved from Deerfield Beach to Port St. Lucie,
Okay.
which there was nobody there at the time. I was like, damn, Mom, I cannot stay here. You know what I mean? But it ended up working out because I was boxing on the off season in college. And I took the boxing. I was like, man, I really want to get into combat sports. And then MMA started to make its rise. You know, this was 2010, 2009, 2010. So the Ultimate Fighter was coming out.
Yeah.
So everything was, you know, coming up. So I'm like, all right, I still want to box. I really don't want to roll around on the ground a lot. You know what I mean? I wasn't a grappler or anything like that. I knew how to wrestle, knew how to catch wrestle just by athleticism.
Right.
You know?
And just growing up in the hood.
Exactly, right? So, like, you got to do that. And, you know, so I went and I checked out a boxing gym in Vero Beach. It was a little bit too far from me. I didn't have a job, I didn't have a car, I had nothing. So I'm like, all right, I can't do that. And I want to train at least twice a day. That's just how I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, man, where can I go? And I was researching, and I looked up and I saw an ATT affiliate gym in Port St. Lucie, and Dean Thomas owned it.
Okay.
So this is how I started with Dean.
Right there.
And I actually walked up on him. It was a funny story. So we get there, and it's right in front of his spot, and he's opening up the door, and I run up behind him, and he's like, you know, he's kind of on edge, and I run, but I'm like 210 pounds at that point, and like still rough around the edges.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, he's like, he's like, what's up, man? Like, you know, I was like, I want to fight. He looked me up and down. He's like, all right, man, come on over at 5 o'clock and check this and see what you got, you know. And so from then on, it was nonstop, man.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
What a great person to start with right there too,
For
man.
real, yeah, definitely. And still talk to him to this day. We gotta do a couple of things later on throughout the month.
That's awesome. And so my bad, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, when you showed up at 5 o'clock, what did he have ready for you? Did he have somebody like?
Unfortunately, I wish he would have, because then I would have at least proved something.
Yeah,
but he's kind of like, who's this white boy? Like, just out here, you know. But no, I ended up going because it was like early in the morning too. It was probably about 8, 9 o'clock. You know, MMA gyms, they're not open until like at least 12.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I came back later and then did a class, and then actually he made me do a jiu-jitsu class.
Okay.
Sorry, we gotta stop for 1 second. Just right now, something happened right there with this thing.
What happened?
Just gave an error right now. Gave an error.
Hey, I say we rock and roll.
Yeah.
Give Mike a scream down there. So Mike, we're back. He's nervous down there.
It's all good. Good. I get it. I know how it goes.
Technical difficulties.
We can start like that. Yeah, really good. Ruji, that'll be kind of cool.
All right, so yeah, technical difficulties, but we're back though.
Never stop the show.
Never stop the show.
Never.
The show must go on.
That's it.
Yo, so I wanted to say, like,
Yeah.
so when he told you to come back at 5 o'clock, was there anything waiting for you?
Nah, he wasn't putting me in the ringer like that. But he did say you have to jump in this jiu-jitsu class. The one thing that I did not want to do the first time, right? And so I actually jumped in there, and I did actually fairly well. So I was like, oh, I might have something here. But then after the class, remind you, I'm 210. I'm coming right from football, university, and college football. Like, I was small, right? I was fucking going against gargoyles, man. Like 300 pounders.
What position you playing at the time?
I play strong safety, but, you know, I'm coming from a linebacker spot. You know, back, you know, Fort Lauderdale, everybody's fast, right? I was the slowest on my team, and I was running like a 4.6 40, something like that. So you can imagine, right? But yeah, so when I went to go back there, he was telling me that, you know, after the class, he was like, you know, you're gonna have to get down to like 155 pounds. Like, the fuck? I haven't been there since middle school, man.
Damn.
Like, there's no possible way. Then I started looking, and I'm like, I went down to Coconut Creek, and I saw Thiago Alves, and I was like, yeah, I probably should go to 55. This when he was like 210 and he was fighting at 170. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I didn't actually end up getting down there until, you know, I turned pro. So I fought amateur at 170. But later on during that week, I ended up coming back, and usually Saturdays was like a good like open mat day, and everybody kind of sparred and just played around. And so that day I went there, and we had this little cage, man. It was smaller than the bare knuckle ring right now. Like, it was one of those, right? And so
A closet.
basically, right? And so you had to fight, right? And I remember, you guys remember Deuce Gardner? You ever heard of him?
Yeah, I remember Deuce.
Yeah, Deuce. So he's a heavyweight, by the way, right? And he was a M1 champion at the time. And he walks in the gym and he saw me hitting the bag and he goes, hey, come on, let's spar. And I go, it's a big motherfucker. Like, and then everybody was like, yeah, go ahead. See what you got, you know? So I remember just like, thinking, I just got to get my first shot off, right? So I'm in there.
I'm a sucker punch this dude.
I'm going in, right? So I ended up like basically just bobbing and then throwing haymakers, just overhands and hooks, and I ended up clipping him. And then he kind of like, okay. And then bell rang. The guy that was the manager of the gym he comes up to me and goes, listen, he's going to try to knock you out now.
Oh, my God.
So just keep your hands up, right? And I'm probably I lost a little bit of weight, so I was probably about 185 at the time, 185, 190. So I'm like, all right, fuck. So hands up, I go out there, and he just starts unloading on me, bro. Just hook, like 3 souths, just and I'm like, boom, just getting hit all over the place. End up not getting knocked out, thankfully.
Yeah,
and got
did
the
you
respect.
jump? Did you go, hey, I'm out?
Listen, I was trying to hold my own. You know, you try. I had to tighten up. You know
Of course.
But it was a good experience to just know that, all right, I got to be a little bit more strategic with my approach. You
Absolutely.
know?
Nice. And you got out of there with your head, with your head still on. Thank God.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, when we took this little technical difficulty, you were telling me a story about you were with Dustin, and you wanted to go see Logan Paul. You said
this was the day of when Dustin fought Khabib. So
okay, huge.
Yeah, I mean, he was in Abu Dhabi, so I didn't go with him there. And for the most part, I don't really like to travel with the fighters unless I'm in the corner.
Right.
You know, I'm over like going to watch the fights and sitting there.
Right.
I'd rather watch it from the comfort of my own home. In a sense,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
So, but this opportunity came up, and they called me, and they were asking if I could go work with Logan Paul. So I didn't really know too much about it at the time. This is what, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So didn't really know too much. All I knew that was my stepdaughters were like, "Oh my God, you're going to see Logan Paul." So I
Like
said,
my kids too.
yeah, I'm like, okay, like I trained Dustin Poirier, you want to get J-Check, but hey, Logan Paul. You know, so I ended up going there, and then I walked in there. Great house, like humongous house, awesome, and it was like a frat house, like literally was a frat house. And he was like, "All right, we're gonna go train in the back." And so they started training. He was with his coach and ran him through a little circuit, did some mobility work with him. He took it honestly 100% professional, right? He was definitely down for the training. And then at the end, they were running a little late, and I remember his partner was like, "We gotta go, we got to wrap this up." And I was like, "All right, well," he goes. I was like, "Well, where you got to go?" He's like, "Yeah, we got to go to this fucking Catalina wine mixer."
Fucking from Step Brothers and shit.
This is a real thing. You shitting me right now, right? So, no, he wasn't lying. He really went to that motherfucking Catalina wine mixer.
Hey, you know, no bullshit. That's from Step Brothers, and I thought it was fake too.
Yeah.
Up until I think I was in Cali, and they told me about it. I'm like, holy shit, it's a real thing.
Yeah. That's true rich people shit.
That's
right
hilarious.
There. Yeah. I found out that when we left, we was watching his Instagram, and he got on his bus, like his private little bus, and then went to a yacht, and then as he was, sailing through wherever, the fucking helicopter lands on the boat. They get on the helicopter and go over to the Catalina wine mixer.
Damn. Hey, it's fucking tough fucking life, dog.
Hey, they doing it though. They doing it.
Then fights, Floyd Mayweather. Years later.
Yeah.
But bro, I wanted to ask you, man, how'd you start training? Like, how'd you get to start training the elite, man, that you're training? You're training Dustin Poirier and the
list goes on and on and on.
I mean,
how'd that door open for you?
A lot of it, I think it comes from me just putting my head down and working. Opportunities opened up when I was able to put myself in the position to do so. I think, it does definitely help if you know some people. Dean actually helped me open up the doors to me to get into Coconut Creek and train those individuals. And then from there, my abilities kept me in the door and allowed me to actually create a bond and a relationship with all the fighters that I work with. I work with well over, I want to say, at least 200 to 300 UFC fighters. Now I'm able to coach other coaches. I have over 1,000 coaches in my mentorship program, so that's awesome, from around the world.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man, it was the first day that I got to ATT, and I've been there before, obviously, cross training and stuff like that, going down there, avoiding Hector Lombard by any means necessary. I remember he had a corner in the gym that nobody wanted to go to, and I was about 100. I'll give you this one. So this is a good Hector Lombard story. By
let's go. Let's go.
So me and Hector go way back. I was a fighter when I first met him. I was probably about 22, 21 years old. And so this was when he was like killing it in Bellator.
Yeah.
He was like 23-0. He's like knocking dudes' heads off, right? And he would always have that corner in the gym where nobody really wanted to go. And so I get there one Tuesday night. This is when we used to do blockeo. So like all ATTs would come together and they would train that night.
Nice.
And so I went there, and a lot of the guys would come up to me like, "Hey man, how you doing? Great to see you. Just don't go over there."
Yeah.
Right? Just don't stay away from Hector, right? So meanwhile, I'm doing my thing. I'm doing pretty well with a lot of the guys. So then one of the coaches goes, "All right, you come over here," and he points over to the direction of where Hector
everybody's
is.
telling you not to go.
And I'm like, fuck. All right. So now I'm like hyped up. I'm like, all right, let's go. It's going to happen. It has to happen, right? And I'm about 175 pounds now. So Hector is like 215 just yoked, right?
Yeah.
And he's Hector Lombard. So I'm like, all right, let's just do it, Not too much fearful, just I know that it's going to be a fight, right? It's not going to be a sparring match whatsoever.
Right.
But I ended up sparring with Sabah Hamasi. So, which was good. I mean, actually, Sabah would give me some good work. But at the same time, Sabah and him are actually real training partners. So he's coaching Sabah as I'm like working you know, and we're doing pretty well going back and
So
forth.
he's seeing your mistakes too at the same time.
He's saying that, but he's also yelling at Sabah at the top of his lungs and getting pissed off at him because he's not doing what he's telling him to do. You know how Hector is, right? So then I'm like, all right, I gotta be mindful of this because there's gonna come a time, and I know that he will come out of nowhere and try to just be like, all right, let me handle this, right?
Yeah.
So Sabah ends up hitting me in the groin, right? So he gives me the low blow, and he says, he's like, "Oh, you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And Hector, he didn't hit him. He didn't hit him. You're good. It was in the stomach. And I was like, damn. He goes, no, Hector. I felt the cup. Like, he really hit me. It really hit him. So he goes, "Nah, this bullshit, man. Fuck that. Keep going. It's pussy." I was like, oh, all right. So after all that, we ended up, it was over. And then after sparring, he shows me a couple of techniques, and I'm like, man, I used to look up to this guy as I'm coming through the ranks and stuff. And I go, yo, man, listen, just to let you know, like, you're a big inspiration for me, and you know, true like starstruck quality moment, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "What the fuck did you say? What's up to me, man?" He goes, "I met you. You work at LA Fitness," and I was like, "I don't work at LA Fitness, man. I don't know you. I know you. You don't know me."
Yeah.
So it was funny. And then so we end up going to the LA Fitness next door because it's right next to LA Fitness, and I would say about 10 or 12 UFC fighters plus Bellator fighters are, you know, basically just meeting up there, sitting there. And we're about to get a smoothie because that's what they did. They, you know, post workout type stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll hang out. And he's talking to me. And I see it at the corner of his eyes. He's looking back behind me, and he's like staring down like these three like meatheads that are just fucking staring out over at us because they see, I think, in my opinion, there's like 12 UFC fighters. So they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, look at them. They're right there. Yeah.
He took it as they wanted to fight.
Oh,
he goes,
shit.
"The fuck you looking at, man?" He's like, you think you're tough guys? Really, real tough guys. And I look and I go, "Hector, they might want an autograph, man."
Yeah.
It's not everybody wants to fight, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. And then he turned around and started talking to the girl that was getting our smoothies at that point. And then it was over, and it was all good. So,
That's Hector for you, man.
with all that being said, I don't know where I went with that, but good story nonetheless.
But we were talking about how you're training in the elite, but it started from there.
Yeah. So I was able to like understand, you know, how they ran stuff at that time, and I saw some of the strength and conditioning that they were doing. And then going back up to my gym, I opened up my own facility at 22 years old. So I had my own gym. I started actually open up the spot where the old ATT was, where I started MMA.
Okay, dope.
So when Dean left, I took over that spot and started doing strength and conditioning in there. And then I had some of my teammates that would come over, and then ultimately I was able to get a full cage in there, a ring in there. I had a bunch of stuff. So we had about 11,000 square feet, had about 300 members. It was popping. But at the end of the day, my goal was to level up, right? So I didn't want to stay in Port St. Lucie and just work the local scene. I wanted to work worldwide. I wanted to work with high-level individuals. So I had a couple of pros, but nothing major. And then I had some college and high school football players. Now, when I got injured, I ended up obviously retiring from MMA. And I was like, all right, I didn't want anything to do with MMA for a long time. It was probably about a year and a half, and that's a long time for me, really, because I was totally separated from it. So I decided to do everything under the sun to just keep my mind away from it. So I was doing bodybuilding. I was doing strongman. I was doing powerlifting. I was trying to do as much as I could from a competitive standpoint. To
just stay away from fighting.
Exactly. But I kept going back to it, right? And so I was like, I ended up calling Dean and I said, man, can we meet? And we met up that day, and I was telling him, you know, like, listen, I'm not training anymore. You know, I want to get back into the sport at least. And do you have any guys that you think that I could work with? And he actually got the job. He was coaching down there at this point. And I go, he goes, you know, you might be in luck, because the old strength and conditioning coach is actually leaving. So he's like, can you get your resume together and go down there today? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I got the resume, shot on down there, and the first day I was able to train Dustin, Hector, was it King Mola Wall, Tisha Torres, and Dia Davis. So I trained all of them. in one group.
That's
right.
amazing.
So I was able to talk with Dustin for a good while before we started the training. So we hit it off pretty well in the beginning. Obviously, Dustin's a nice guy, so he's just gonna talk regardless. You know what I'm saying? And we had good conversation. But I remember the first day I trained him, he didn't like me because of the fact that I was like, too much of that like high school
right, like boot camp type,
boot camp style. Right. Like I'm coming from that, so I forgot that they don't need that shit. you know? So that was a good way of me understanding how to actually coach other individuals. Right. So I got to learn how to actually coach from a holistic side, from the art of coaching perspective, and so I ended up going down there for about, I want to say a month, maybe 3 weeks to a month. No pay, just going down there, just showing what I got, and then I ended up getting a job at that point. Closed the gym. Well, I sold the gym, opened up a smaller gym just to do content and just do personal training here and there. After that, I ended up just being down south the entire time. So closed that gym down, then opened up one in Pompano in the pandemic. So that was something, because of the fact that for the most part, they weren't able to train all of the fighters, right? So guys had fights coming up, and especially the ones that fight in LFA or something like that in the lower regional scenes, they had nowhere to train. So I was like, all right, listen, I'm going to open up my spot because I wanted to do the content there anyways. It was a little conflict with doing content in the gym and everything else. I was like, listen, to make it easier on everybody, I'll just go find a spot. It's fine. And I wanted to start the podcast and all that. So I opened up that, and then bringing people over there. Then ultimately, I just had to leave, man. At that point, it was just too much going on. The brand was building, and I wanted to do other things. I wanted to work with other fighters from different camps, right? So I was working with Frankie Yeager a little bit here and there, and I couldn't because of
ATT
being a part
connection.
of ATT.
Right. Man, that's awesome. So you had a great start, and it looks like a lot. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and the timing was perfect too when it came to all that. That's
absolutely
awesome. I saw today too, man. You were training Timberland.
Yeah.
What?
That's I mean, listen. So this is funny because Jake hooked it up. Jake Boswick. So check out the past episode, right? Before me, right? So check that episode out.
It might be after.
We'll see. But check it out though. Make sure you check out all the episodes. By the way.
Yeah, hell yeah. Don't blink.
But yeah, so he was working with him for 5 years. I think he was with you at the gym too as well, right? Yeah. And he came to me one day and he was like, man, I think Tim needs some mobility. He needs more strengthening. And I was like, all right, well, I'll come see what's up. And ended up, hitting it off. I ran him through some drills. We found some deficiencies, some dysfunction. And then from there, he was just like, when can you come back? And so we've been going for about 2 years strong now. And now we're working together pretty much every day.
Yeah,
so
nice.
he's lost a good amount of weight. He's lost about 30-40 pounds, you know what I mean? But the goal for us really was to just gain back functionality. He was stuck in that, he's a producer, so he's stuck in that posture and and then he's snacking all the time back back in the booths, and I'm like, listen, this has got to change. And so the good thing is that being able to be around that really lets off a certain level of confidence for me,
right?
And I'm able to be around high level individuals, and that leaks off into everything that I do.
Absolutely, man. It's great energy to be around people like that too. And I mean, I don't know Timberland personally, but I've seen through Jake and through you that he's the type of person that likes to help people around them. You know what I mean? So that's great.
Definitely.
My brother, what you got coming up in the near future, man? I know you're constantly putting out content. I know you're constantly on YouTube. You just did your podcast. Mm-hmm. So you're like me, you're an octopus.
He's doing it.
A little bit of hands everywhere, you know what I mean?
Man. Yeah, we got to do what we got to do, man.
Exactly.
You know that.
Exactly.
No, I got a lot of stuff for quarter 1 and quarter 2 that I want to get out there. Not too much if I want to tell you right now.
Right. No
I will say that we are going to drop more merchandise.
Just keep watching, people.
I got a couple of programs coming out, new online programs coming out, and then also maybe some supplements. So
that was going to be my next question. Now that you just dibbled on something right there, you just bling.
Yeah, we're gonna have the
how has it transitioned?
Protein powder.
No, and how has it transitioned now? At least training and with the whole digital space, and now being able to even content on YouTube can be seen from what I'm saying, the other side of the world.
Man, it changed the trajectory of my entire career.
Yeah,
it was a time where I was like, all right, I'm gonna put a couple of programs out and see how it does, and now it's major moneymaker for me.
That's it.
Now you have to put out programs because people are waiting.
Exactly. I remember the first time I did the program, the one program that I started started with was Fight Ready, which was an MMA based program, and the guy that I did it with, Chris Barnard, and my partner now, Chris Asuni, came together and did this like mega program. And he told me, he goes, he showed me another program that he did just recently, and he goes, this program in the first week sold 100,000. And I go, I said, you didn't act like you didn't just say that. I was like, 100,000 in the first week for a program? I write that in like 5 minutes. We can do this.
Yeah.
So it ended up, he was right.
And let me tell you something, man. So I started training with Mac. And Mac seen I did something with him. I think it was a podcast or maybe I just had a picture from backstage or something. He's like, man, you know Daru? I'm like, man, that's my dog. He said, man, that dude's the master. Put me down with him. So I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. I put him in a little group text.
Yeah.
Going to hit each other. So I guess I think it was the podcast, because then another one of my homeboys that just went to the scene, like, man, you got to put me down with Daru too. So and that World Bank is doing your thing. So that's amazing.
Thank you, brother.
And something I like to ask all our guests too is, a lot of young people out there, we motivate a lot of people, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
From fighting to just trying to help people out to doing this on podcasts.
Sure.
What would you tell a younger you out there, man?
A younger me?
Yeah.
I always fall back to this, man. It's more about, understanding the process, being patient. A lot of times is, you think that you got to get at it right away.
Right.
There's plenty of time. I'm 33 right now, and I can't wait till I'm 43. I can't, and then I probably won't wait till I'm 53 at that point, because I know there's so much more to learn. There's so much more to gain. And so for that, it's just be patient, be consistent, understand the process, increase your value every day by learning and experiencing new things, right? So there's never a day that I try not to experience new things and learn inside the process. So when you can have that, you understand that, you create the routine around the strategies that is going to take you to that next level, and everything else will fall into play.
Absolutely, man. You said one huge thing for me is consistency, dog. I think that is the... there's a lot of factors into making yourself a successful person, but consistency, I think, is the biggest one. You know what I mean? You gotta. There's good days, there's bad days, but it don't matter. You have to be there.
Keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another big thing, part of this show, man, is we believe in aliens over here, dog.
He watches the show. He knows
you know what?
up.
Look,
Did you see your last knockout? That was an alien
right?
move.
Hey, you were back there for the 3-second knockout too.
Yeah. I was like, it's over.
Hey, you know what? We were just watching that Jake Paul video when an alien flies over him, man. But I've asked every guest that's been on the show about whether they believe or not, because, again, like I say on every show, there's some weird shit out there, man.
Sure.
And again, it falls back on, are we the only people in this whole galaxy? And besides that, there's shit on this earth that we live on, like the pyramids, that we still can't explain.
Sure.
So all that shit rattles my mind.
He got some exclusive shit, though. What are you about to say?
About what?
About aliens. You've seen some shit over there.
So,
see?
Listen.
Come on, drop it.
What I will say is that I'm never going to look past it, right? You look at, like, what's going on in the world, right? Did you see China just launched their own sun?
Oh, I seen that the other day. Y'all seen that?
No.
So this is real life right now. All right. So we're getting into the times where you're gonna see some astronomical shit.
Yeah. Well,
look it up.
Well, look, I'll tell you this. I remember this was about 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. I was looking on a magazine and it had a picture of people walking through either Shanghai or Beijing, and the atmosphere was so fucking polluted that they had TV monitors on buildings like Times Square with the sunrise and the sunset. Right, because you couldn't see the fucking actual sky. So now you're telling me they launched some shit in the sky to put like an artificial sun?
They need their own light.
I gotta Google this shit as soon as we get off this fucking podcast, bro.
No, it's some crazy shit. I seen it the other day. It's like is a sun that gives out like almost like even 9 times more heat than the actual sun.
And here goes a funny fucking. Here's another one, right? So whenever something like this happens, the one that doesn't believe any of it ever, and it doesn't matter what the data says, right. It could have peer-reviewed studies, it could have all that. Timberland will not believe any of that shit.
Everything's a conspiracy.
He's like, how do they know it's 8 times the heat? They don't know. It could just be hot, and they don't even know. And I go,
Timberland, they got people who go to school for this shit.
But there's some studies out that would say, and it not the sun thing, but other things that he just does not believe it. But I'll tell you this, the Chinese is doing something. Got to be like up on it, honestly. I think that for the most part, man, they started TikTok.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, but they doing it is for a reason. Like, you know what I'm saying? Is to get environmental health, whatever. And then they said they're going to leave it like 8 months or some shit like that.
I'm going to tell you something, man. The Chinese, you know what I mean, are very intelligent people because they did start TikTok, right? But this is what they did also. On TikTok, when a kid swipes more than like 10 times, they go to educational shit. Yeah. And then at a certain time, there is no TikTok. You can't even get on it. Mm-hmm. Here in USA, they're dumbed out, bro.
We wildin'. You scroll, you twerking.
I grew up riding bike. And I'm good with my peripheral and I'm good on my reflexes because I gotta watch dodging cars and all types of shit.
Yeah.
Nowadays, kids are getting plastered on the street because they're, you know what I mean? And
that's very true.
Yeah, it's a different lifestyle, bro.
Well, watch out for the VR, man. The metaverse.
Oh, what's up? We training people in the metaverse?
We talking about the metaverse the other day. Yeah, we are training people in the
metaverse. I'm taking it over. I'm going gym inside the metaverse and everything.
Yeah?
Bro.
Oh, shit.
I need a membership, bro.
NFT collections coming in the metaverse.
Is it? That's dope.
Oh, man. 2022 is looking real promising.
Yeah, fucking A, man. Fucking A. It's just crazy. He's like, I heard some shit today, like, where like you don't really own shit anymore. You know what I mean? Like everything's like in the metaverse. We're like, oh no, I got a crib, I got a gym. All this is like, but wait, when you take this off, like, do you?
You ever seen Ready Player One?
Yeah, Player One.
Great movie.
Might put me on that
great
one.
Movie and great like analogy for what's going on with
absolutely,
that.
Absolutely. You look at like Demolition Man. Remember that?
Right.
Oh yeah, there's been a few.
I mean, The Matrix. Obviously, you look at those films and they're just getting us ready.
Right.
They're warming us up for what's to come.
Right. Fucking wild.
So what are we gonna do that is coming? Like we gotta adapt or die, right? We gotta adapt or die.
First and foremost, strap on your seatbelt, bro.
It's gonna be a wild fucking ride. Let me tell you that right now. Right, worse than the roller coasters over at Islands of Adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
What I will say is I like to be ahead of the curve. So even if I don't understand it completely, I'm still gonna dive in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because honestly, in all actuality, like when guys started fighting in cages, like you look at that back in the day. They really didn't know a whole lot about everything that needs to be done inside the cage. They just had one thing that they knew, and they just went head first into it.
But evolution, evolution, and we're at this shit today, man.
We in it.
Listen, man, y'all keep your motherfucking eyes open. Don't blink, podcast, motherfuckers. This has been Phil Daru, my brother in the building, man.
Bam.
Let them know where to find you at.
So at Daru Strong, the Instagram, I got my YouTube channel, Phil Daru, and also Twitter's at Daru Strong. My website, DaruStrong.com. Easy.
Easy. That's it.
Yeah. Get yourself a workout, man.
You heard?
Hey, thank you so much for being on, my brother. Truly appreciate you, man. Yes, sir. We got to have you back on, man. Because I know there's a million more stories to tell, too.
100%.
Hell yeah.
Way more.
Hey, me, the kid, Phil Daru, Don't Blink Podcast. And don't blink, motherfuckers. I think me and Two Nights got something great going on. We got some great guests coming up. It's gonna be dope. We got some dope people that already signed up to do it with us, which is great. A lot of people show us love, and it's because we love them back for sure.